Mansa Musa, the richest king in African history. Imagine a king so wealthy that when he traveled, entire economies shook, gold prices collapsed, and the world stopped to witness the brilliance of an African empire. This is not myth. This is Mansa Musa, the richest king in African history. Welcome, family, to another journey through the greatness of Africa. Today we step into the sun-drenched lands of the Mali Empire, a civilization of scholars, warriors, merchants, and visionaries. And at its heart stood a man whose name echoed across deserts and oceans, a man whose wealth is still unmatched today. Let's explore his rise, his journey, his empire, and the legacy he carved into the memory of the world. The rise of a golden empire. Before Mansa Musa ever became king, Mali was already a land of power. Gold flowed beneath its soil. Trade routes crossed its cities like rivers of wealth. But under Musa, the empire did not just grow. It transformed. He inherited a kingdom stretching across modern Mali, Senegal, Niger, and Guinea. And he strengthened it with organization, justice, and stability. He ruled not with fear, but with vision. A king who became legend. Mansa Musa was the 10th ruler of Mali. He came to power during a time of expansion. But what made him legendary was not just his rule, it was his journey. In 1324, he embarked on a pilgrimage to Mecca, a journey that would shock the world, because he traveled with tens of thousands of people, camels carrying gold, soldiers, scholars, servants, traders. It was a moving city, a golden procession across the Sahara. The gold that changed markets. One of the most powerful stories of Mansa Musa comes from his time in Cairo. When he arrived, he gave out so much gold, so freely, so generously, that the price of gold dropped. For 12 years, Egypt's economy struggled to recover. One man, one king, shifted the value of gold across an entire region. To this day, economists still talk about it. Timbuktu, the African beacon of knowledge. Mansa Musa didn't want his wealth to just sparkle in the sun. He wanted it to build minds. Under his rule, Timbuktu became a world-renowned center of learning. He built the legendary University of Sankore, attracting scholars from all corners of Africa and beyond. Timbuktu's libraries held hundreds of thousands of manuscripts, philosophy, astronomy, medicine, mathematics, literature, a treasure of pure knowledge, a testament to African intellect. This was Africa's golden age of learning. Architecture that stood for glory. Mansa Musa brought architects from across the Islamic world to Mali. One of them, Abu Ishaq es-Saheli, helped design new mosques and public buildings. The most famous, the Jingwereber Mosque, built from clay, straw, and timber. An architectural masterpiece that still stands today. It wasn't just a building, it was a symbol, a manifestation of a king's dream for a cultured, spiritual, and powerful empire. A wealth beyond numbers. Historians debate Mansa Musa's wealth. Some say he was worth the modern equivalent of hundreds of billions. Some say trillions, but the truth is simpler. His wealth was so vast, so deeply rooted in gold, land, trade, and culture, that it cannot be measured. He wasn't just rich, he defined what wealth meant. A legacy that echoes in Africa's story. When Mansa Musa returned from his pilgrimage, he didn't rest. He rebuilt cities. He invested in education. He strengthened trade. He expanded Mali's influence far beyond its borders. Centuries later, his name still stands as a symbol of African greatness. Proof that Africa's kingdoms were not just strong. They were magnificent. The map makers couldn't ignore him. European cartographers who had never even seen him placed his image on their maps. A black king holding a golden orb. Why? Because his reputation had traveled farther than he had. Mansa Musa became a symbol of the wealth and power of Africa itself. Mansa Musa was more than the richest man in history. He was a builder, a visionary, a leader who understood that true wealth is not only in gold, but in knowledge, culture, and legacy. His story reminds us of Africa's greatness, its brilliance, its unmatched depth, and it invites us to reclaim, celebrate, and honor the history that has shaped us. If you love African history, if you want more stories of kings, queens, warriors, and civilizations, subscribe and join us on this journey. Together we rise by remembering who we are.